This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Welcome to the Row 1 Seat 1 podcast. We are back for another lively week at the show. This will probably be maybe the most controversial episode yet because I have Southeastern legend, Deathmatch legend really in wrestling in general. I have Tank on, dear God. Hide your wife, hide your kids. Welcome to the show, Tank.
What's going on, man? It's about goddamn time you got me on the show.
I was waiting for just the right time.
I mean, Jesus Christ, you had Jaden Newman on before me. That's a slap in the face. So next time I see you, I'm going to stab you in the eye with a skewer.
This is a strong possibility, actually. You very well may. No, Tank's a good friend. No, I was waiting for just the right time because, obviously I had Jaden on because he was in the SCI tournament. So that's why. There was a reason where I knew I wanted to have you on before football season because I knew you wanted to talk about the Saints a little bit. But I also wanted to have you on where there was a good time where I knew you could really air your balls out and shoot a little bit. And I figured now was as good a time as any. So we're going to have Tank on and shooting the shitbirds. As he did at SCI weekend, and hopefully he will do tonight. But welcome to the show. Talk about how you got into wrestling, because you grew up in Chattanooga, right?
Oh yeah, I grew up watching wrestling. I guess I was 8 or 9 when I first got interested in it. My dad watched it, and when the first few times I saw it, I was like, this stuff's pretty lame. And then I saw something happen that caught my eye, and I was a fan ever since. But I actually started out as a yarder. Me and some buddies of mine, we beat the shit out of each other in the backyard, but we weren't like your normal backyard guys doing deathmatch shit. We were actually learning how to do moves and work the left side of the body and this and that. And this guy named Chet Blaylock had a ring in the back of his karate studio, and we asked him if we could go in there and play around in it. He was like, yeah, just don't get hurt. And on Sundays we'd go out there. We each had different characters. We'd do 6-7 matches, and some local guys, Richie Dye and Rawhead Rex, they just happened to drive by and they saw us out there, and they got in the ring with us and beat the shit out of us. And then they were like, well, we're going to have to do training at TWA on Tuesday if you guys want to come down. So we were like, cool. So we went down, they beat the hell out of us, and the rest is history.
Chet is actually my MMA teacher too. So small friggin' world. Yeah. Chet teaches me how to be a trained killer.
He's a cool guy. I haven't seen him in years. He probably don't remember me, but we actually fixed his ring up. It was pretty shitty. And we put new cables, new turnbuckles. We fixed it up pretty good for him, just so we could go and play wrestle.
He's a cool guy. He's a hell of a teacher, actually. He will
that's cool.
Teach you how to learn how to fight real good, real good. So he's a nice guy too, definitely. So Richie Dye and taught you how to become a real wrestler. At what point did you know this is something you really wanted to do seriously?
When we were like just messing around in the ring, I was like,
something you didn't want to fuck around.
I was like, I really want to do this. But at the time, the only show that I knew of was fucking Paul Lee, and I sure in the hell wasn't going down there dealing with that asshole. And then we heard of a show in Rossville, which was TWA. So we went down there one Friday night, and we had kind of learned some of the lingo. This was like right when the internet came out, so you could look up, there was like a website called DDT Digest, and we were learning the lingo, kayfabe, shoot, blah, blah, blah. And we went to a show in Rossville one night, and me and my 4 buddies, we were raising just all kinds of hell to the point where the locker room wanted to beat the shit out of us because they thought we were workers from Paul's show. And that was in like June of 1996. I had my first match in November of 96 after about 3 weeks of training because they were like, you already know most of this shit. We're just going to teach you how to protect yourself and not kill yourself. So we did 3 weeks of that, and then I had my first match and a laundromat / arcade in Charleston, Tennessee.
It's amazing.
Yes, it is. And the next night I did a show in Fairmount, Georgia. I wrestled Alex Payne like my first probably 10, 15 matches because we trained together and we just flip-flop wins. And I made my first $1. The dude paid me $1 that night. On my second show, I got paid $1. So I was like, man, I've fucking made it big time now. So then when I got booked at TWA, I was kind of scared because I show up and all the guys who I was fucking with that night were ready to kill me, like Big Wood and Riz Taylor and so a couple other guys. But Rawhead, my trainer, was like, man, he's cool. He was green. He was just, he was just doing what the hell he's supposed to be doing, getting a rise out of you dumbasses. So then I worked Rawhead for 6 months straight. Man, we went all over the place, Rossville, Dalton, Cleveland, and he was legit one of the toughest guys I've ever met in my entire life. It was somebody that, even though we were good friends, I wouldn't have fucked with him.
And you work with some tough motherfuckers.
Yeah, man. Like the guys that back then were like Richie and Rawhead and Woody. I mean, these guys, it was like 80-20 fucking shoot to work. I mean, they laid their shit in there. The finishes were predetermined, but what happened in there, you didn't know what the hell if Rick Justice was going to go off and just try to beat the shit out of you.
Now, you mentioned a name, and I got listeners from all over the country and all over the world. People may not be familiar with Paul Lee, and you mentioned him as a shithead. Describe what kind of a shithead Paul Lee is for those who may not be familiar.
Oh, man, this guy, I'd actually wrestled, I didn't want to train down there, but I'd worked on a show with him, and he wanted to book me on his show. So I got with Doug Watkins, the guy who ran TWA, and I was like, do you care if I go down there and work? And he was like, yeah, just, as long as he ain't talking shit about us, just go down there and do it. I was like, cool. So I worked for him for a few months. He was actually paying me, pretty good for just being in the business for a little over a year. And he was real professional. But then, like, one night, he just, shorted my pay big time. And I was like, what the hell? He was out, the house was down. I was like, well, the houses are always down there, dipshit. And you always pay me more than this. This is a funny story. So I quit. Well, he had a big show like 3 or 4 weeks later. I wasn't booked anywhere on a Saturday, and my phone rings, and he goes, Tank, brother, he goes, can you come work tonight? And I was like, well, I wasn't planning on it, that you fucked me on my money. He goes, well, Gordy can't make it, and a couple other guys can't make it, and I just really need, just a body. I go, at that time, the most money I'd ever made was like $30. So I was like, I'll do it for 50. And he goes, okay. I go, how about 75? He goes, deal. And I go, and I want my money when I walk in the door. He goes, man, no problem. So I pack my bag. I drive down there. He hands me the $75. I count it out. I put it in my pocket. He goes out to cut his promo. I grabbed my shit and I went back home. So we hadn't really been on friendly terms since, and that was in like 1997.
But he's earned this shithead reputation. Like, you describe some of the reasons why. I've got one, but describe some of the reasons why he's reviled in this city.
He's just, he acts just like Ric Flair, for one. I know a couple of years ago he was selling action figures, Paul Lee action figures, but they were just Ric Flair figures that he just painted over the R and F on the trunks. And I'm like, man, what the hell? I mean, people bought the shit.
Oh my God.
I mean, people were buying it. And then his shithead son, Lex Lee, I ain't really got a problem with him, but he was just kind of a douche, him and his partner. And he's just an asshole. You know, he would go and they say they don't tear down posters. That's bullshit because people saw him do it. When he was running for mayor, I stole like 10 of his goddamn Paul Lee for mayor signs.
I've never heard a good word about him. I've never heard a good word about him.
And I put the sign in Ace Rockwell's yard because they were about to get into a fight at the flea market. Another thing, you know, he had the little flea market store where he was selling four-wheelers, and people would buy them, and they were shit. He wouldn't give them their money back and say, well, no, it's yours now, so you're going to have to deal with it. And he's just a real fucking turd. And I ain't got no use for him.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say anything nice about him whatsoever. He's just a shady motherfucker.
He is shady. I believe Jaden, I think he started training there, and he just bumped on the floor for a few weeks.
For like years. He made Jaden bump on the floor for years on the concrete.
And then, like, he would book, when I was working down there, he never got in the ring with me because like, he would just beat the shit out of his trainees. And I finally got in the ring with him one night, and it was some kind of an 8-man scramble or something, and dude legit ran from me the whole time. I was just trying to work with him. I guess he thought I was gonna like beat the hell out of him or something. I'm like, no, let's just work, brother.
He probably would have.
Yeah, if he'd have, tried to do that shit I saw him do with everybody else, it'd have been ugly.
So, you got your first year or so under your belt. At what point do you kind of say, I can sort of make something of this, and I'm going to start traveling?
Well, like I said, I started in '96, and I stayed pretty much local, Rossville, Dalton, Cleveland, Whitwell, Dunlap, and in 2001, I had the chance to go to Cornelia for a tryout for NWA-Wildside. So, like, I would say my first 5 years was just kind of learning the ropes, and my career really didn't start until I started at Wildside, because I learned so much there. Like, as soon as you walk in the door, you had David Young and AJ Styles, Jason Cross, John Phoenix, even Jimmy Rave at the time. I mean, he was getting his name out there, and it was just a learning experience. I mean, if you can't learn from David Young, then there's something wrong with you, because David Young's great.
Jason Cross is one of those names that sort of lost to history, but some people say that he was going to be the star even over AJ. Did you see that too? I mean, that guy had potential.
At that time, he was better than AJ. He was just very injury prone. I know he took a bad bump in a War Games match, and he was out for a while. And then he got to do some shit with TNA. I know he went to Combat Zone for a couple of shows. And he did that shooting star leg drop that was just unreal. But at one time, he was actually, I thought he was better than AJ. And they were doing the whole role model gimmick against each other. They're working an angle with each other. And at that time, I thought he was a little bit better. He was ready.
And you grew close to AJ, right? I remember you telling me some stories about you becoming pals with AJ.
Yeah.
How was he as a person? How was he as a worker coming up? Tell me about your stories with AJ Styles.
He was cool. I mean, he was very wasn't real talkative. He was just kind of shy. I never really thought he was going to blow up the way he did. To be honest with you, I was like, he was kind of small. And I had a buddy of mine who rode with me down there, Adam Jacobs, and they were real close. So I just, it wasn't like we went and like hung out at each other's houses or whatever, but we did a few trips together. We went to South Dakota together, and he's a very religious person. So, and he's stuck in a car with me, Iceberg, David Young, Rick Michaels, and Tony Mamaloop. So the F-bombs are flying then, for 6 hours, driving from Denver to Rapid City, South Dakota. And like I said, he's very religious. And the hotel we stayed at was on top of a strip joint. And he was like, I'm like, yeah, AJ ain't going to make this little gander downstairs with us. But, we went and did the show, and we had a good time. He's just a big nerd. He likes video games. Like I said, I hadn't really seen him. I know he showed up at that Wildside reunion show.
The fun show.
He showed up this past year when I got inducted to the Landmark Arena Hall of Fame. And he's just same old AJ, even though he's rich, he's still AJ. He didn't forget where he come from.
Cool. That's real cool to hear. Yeah, he showed up at that Wildside reunion show, and everyone was just shocked out of their mind. At least the fans were. We were shocked out of our minds.
Well, see, I didn't even know because me and Iceberg had hit the ring, and then when he shows up, I'm like, holy shit, they worked me.
I remember taking pictures of you making goofy faces standing behind him when AJ showed up.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a cool moment for those people that were in that building that night.
Yeah, he took pictures of every single fan in the audience there too. Didn't have to be there, didn't have to do it. Every single one of us. AJ Styles took the time, walked around that building. What a guy.
Yeah, he had an off night, and he was actually going to go to he's a big Georgia Bulldogs fan, and he actually had sideline passes to the Notre Dame game in Notre Dame, and he chose to come do that instead of go to South Bend for that football game.
Real cool. Is David Young's another one? Or just talk in general. Who are the guys from that Wildside crew that didn't necessarily make it, who should have made it?
Oh man, I mean, David, kind of made it. He
made TNA.
He made TNA. Rick Michaels is really good, but he would have been. I believe he would have had a good shot with TNA, but he hurt his back doing a dumbass spot at the fairgrounds. Mama Luke did WCW and ECW. I mean, he was so talented. There was another. I mean, Adam Jacobs was another one that could have made it, which I believe should have made it. As far as like the cruiserweights. Funny story. This dipshit, he had a TNA dark match with AJ in Nashville. And he comes running down the ramp and just fell and busted his ass. And that was the funniest shit I think I'd ever seen.
Just too damn excited.
Yeah, oh yeah. He was just because because I was up there with him. Because the first 7 or 8 TNA shows, we would just show up hoping to get a spot or something, a security spot or maybe have a match or whatever. And I finally got booked on one. Me and Scotty Rand, we wrestled David Flair and Brian Christopher, and that match was a drizzling shits because they didn't want to do nothing.
David Flair, Brian Christopher. Who are some of the other random ass guys that you've worked that just you wouldn't expect Tank to have worked?
Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure they were light as a feather too.
Oh yeah,
fun as hell to work.
Dude, first time I worked Ricky on a few times. The first time I worked him, he didn't have anybody to watch it. He had a kid in a stroller, so he comes to the ring with the stroller and just puts the kid like ringside, and we do the match, and then he just fucking grabbed the kid and went to the back. It was you see some crazy shit on some shit shows in Dalton, Georgia, But I got to work them. I got to work Bobby Eaton, the Barbarian.
Barbarian?
Yes.
Was he? Did he beat the shit out of you, or was he light?
He was cool as shit.
Really?
Yeah. We got there, and I'm in the back talking to him. I'm like, I go. He was like, "What are you gonna do for a finish, brother?" And I was like, "Big boot, fucking flying headbutt." He goes, "I don't do the headbutt anymore." I was like, "All right, cool." I go, "Just a big boot." Pin me right then. I mean, we had a good match. We were out there. I mean, he was light with me. I was light with him. He gives me the big boot. I'm just waiting for the pin, and hell, he just climbed to the top and did the headbutt. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, awesome.
When we got in the back, and he was all like, I was like, damn, I thought you were going to do the headbutt. He goes, brother, I was having too much fun.
That's so cool.
So shit like that makes me feel good.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Same thing with Bobby Eaton. I was like, Alabama Jam. He goes, I don't do it anymore because of my hips. I was like, that's cool. We'll just do a roll up or something. He gave me the swinging neck breaker, top rope, Alabama Jam, 1, 2, 3. And I'm just laying there the whole time like, holy shit, I just took the Alabama Jam. And he was light as a feather. Of course, New Jack. I worked him a lot. Abdul the Butcher.
What's Abby like?
Bagwell. Abby?
I've heard he's no day in the park. Oh, really?
Oh, he was easy as hell.
Really?
All I know was when I got there, he goes, he was taping the blades to his fingers. He goes, you get your color quick, kid? I go, as quick as you want me to get it. He goes, well, if you don't get it good enough, I'll get it for you. So I'm gigging like hell. And he goes, all right, kid, you can stop. I'm squirting all over the damn place because I didn't want this son of a bitch cutting me.
Yeah, because if Abby cuts you, he probably cuts you real deep.
That, and he'll give you a hep C or some shit. So,
Jesus Christ, like that kid in Canada.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want anybody cutting me. I don't want to cut nobody. I don't want anybody cutting me.
You've never let anyone cut you before?
No.
Really?
No, I've cut 2 people, and it didn't go well, so I quit doing that shit.
Really? At a certain point, kind of transitioning. At a certain point, were you always kind of a deathmatch guy, or did you gradually transition to becoming a deathmatch guy?
Well, when I started, I was doing like regular matches,
yeah.
And then with TWA, I did some hardcore matches, but we didn't do light tubes or thumbtacks. Hardcore for us was just taking a chair shot and maybe a table spot or something. And in 2004, Ian had said it was going to be his last King of the Deathmatch tournament.
How'd that
so
go?
I was like, it was easy.
Well, no, Ian. For Ian, I mean, yeah, and then he just faded off into the business, never to be seen again, right?
Ian? Oh, shit.
I'm joking.
There's somebody still around. Oh, yeah, I know. So I got a hold of him, and he contacted Bill Behrens, who kind of agented us out, to people. I worked for Wildside, and Bill was like, yeah, he'll be a good hand. So he bugged me, and he goes, anything you don't want to do? And I was like, well, I've never done glass. I'll do it. I've done thumbtacks. I've done barbed wire. I'm not real fond of fire. He goes, okay. So, my first match in, me and this dude, deranged, we tore it up. And the second night I tore it up, and he goes, I'm going to put you in the semifinals. And I was like, okay. So my first time in, I went all the way to the semis.
Nice.
And I did every King of the Death from 2004 to 2009. And I went back in 2015 and did that one. And I did Carnage Cup. I did.
I want to talk about the Carnage Cups. Those are fucking gross.
Man, that shit's so fucking stupid. The first one I did got shut down because diehard Dustin Lee got a pretty bad cut on his back, and he freaked out and acted like a girl. So they called the ambulance, so they just shut the show down. So then they redid it in Elkmont, Alabama, and me and Necro Butcher were in the finals, and I beat Necro there, so I actually won the tournament. And there might have been 12 people there.
Really?
Yeah, Conrad Thompson was actually in the crowd because he was married to Insane Lane's sister at the time, which I didn't know about that until like 2 or 3 months ago.
How is working Necro, by the way? I've heard he just looking at his matches, he looks like he doesn't realize that it's not real.
Yeah, he's blind as a bat. So when he throws a punch, he don't know where the hell it's going. And we the first time I worked him, we beat the living shit out of each other because it was like a fight. It was either I'm gonna let this dude beat the hell out of me, or I'm gonna have to try to knock some teeth out. And we got in the back. He was telling everybody, he goes, "This dude's hit me harder than anybody in the fucking business." I was fighting for my life, pretty much.
Yeah, his matches look real fucking gross.
But there were some other guys, like Mean Mitch Page. He was awesome. Brain Damage. He hit fucking hard. Bull Payne was like one of my favorite guys. I was so scared of Bull Payne when first time I ever got booked on a show with him, because like he was just like, fucking kids. We did a War Games match. It was me, the Tomasellis, and a couple other guys against. It was a 3-team, so it was 15 guys in it. The opening match on the show was Tyler Black, which is Seth Rollins now, Josh Abercrombie, and Merrick Brave. Well, Tyler somehow got his nose busted, so he had a little bit of blood trickling down. He walks in the back, and Bull Payne just cusses him out. He's like, "You piece of shit." He goes, we got War Games, and it all relies on the blood and guts. He goes, and your little green ass up there getting color in the first fucking match. He goes, we might as well just cancel the rest of the goddamn show. And like, Tyler was just looking at him all scared. He goes, and I'm just fucking with you, and just turned around and walked off. Yeah, he was a cool guy. I mean, like, one night Sean Tempers was sitting in his chair, and he walked in. He goes, you fucking panty waste. He goes, I've been sitting in that same chair for 5 years. He goes, you just come in one goddamn night and you're taking over my chair, blah, blah, blah. And I thought Tempers was going to shit himself. So Tempers got up and he goes, I'm just fucking with you. Sit back down. Now, he was cool.
You worked in the Midwest a lot, and you worked for Ian. What are your thoughts on Ian? Because he has a checkered reputation.
Man, he never fucked me on my money.
Okay.
That's the main thing about wrestling, is trying to get paid. And I know there was guys up there who he didn't pay, or only cut or cut their pay or whatever. I mean, guys like Roderick Strong, BJ Whitmer, CM Punk, Hero, but he always paid me, and I never had a problem with my pay. I had a problem with the way he treated some people. I just kind of kept my mouth shut and did what I was supposed to do.
Now, you mentioned some names who went on to be friggin' huge, like Hero and Punk and Roderick and stuff like that. Did you know with some of those guys, like early on, like, oh, this motherfucker's going to be a star? Or
I'd seen Roderick, and he worked at Wildside one time, because we had so many guys come through, and I didn't really remember him. Then he started doing like Ring of Honor, and then when I was like see these guys in person, like Hero, I was like, yeah, this guy's gonna fucking make it. CM Punk, yeah, this guy's gonna make it. And Tyler Black at the time, I wasn't real sure, because he was just so small. And I did a show for Ed Schumann, NWA Midwest, where he did a 2-minute squash match against Awesome Kong. She just killed him. I was like, holy shit. And but he had something about him, though. Daniel, and Brian Danielson was on these shows, and Claudio. And I got to work Claudio, by the way. I got to work Roger Strong also.
Really?
Ian would do like random shit where he would do like a deathmatch guy against like a pure wrestler. And I worked Roderick Strong for Ian, and then I worked Cesaro or Claudio for Mikey Blanton for
Fight Sports
Midwest.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What guy did you think was the shits ended up turning into something big? Like, didn't impress you at all, and then like got real good real fast.
The first time I ever watched Kevin Steen, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah.
He was in a couple of the TPIs, and he was a real cool guy in the back. We'd just sit around and shoot the shit. But I was like, I don't know. He went to Ring of Honor, and he busted his ass and got his spot. I mean, there's a big difference between what these guys have and what a lot of guys don't have, and it's fucking heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And these guys had tons of heart. I didn't have heart. I was content doing what the fuck I was doing. Plus, I was too old and fat to get a job.
You ended up doing a lot of shit, though.
dude, like I've told people, I'm content with everything that I ever did. I mean, I got to wrestle in 23 states, and I'm cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you wrestled. Where else have you wrestled that we might know of? You wrestled in the Southeast. You wrestled in Wildside. You wrestled in IWA Mid-South. Would those be the two most notable places you wrestled, or are there other major places that you wrestled that would really surprise us?
I did a couple of shows for Combat Zone.
Cool.
IPW in Florida. You know, I wrestled a lot of the NWA like territories except for Nashville because Burt Pennis would never book me. But I did like NWA shows in Florida and Mississippi and one in Alabama. Guess not. But I did when we moved to Ohio, so I worked pretty much every show for Ian. I did some shows in Michigan and in Cleveland for JT Lightning. Now it pretty much it was Cleveland All Pro, and it's turned into what AIW is now.
Mm-hmm. Did you work so did you end up working for Thorne or?
No.
Okay. So it was like before Thorne.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then you ended up coming down here and then working for, because I met you when you were working like mostly Georgia stuff.
Yeah. I moved back and I wasn't doing a whole lot of traveling. I just went to pretty much Empire and Anarchy.
Yeah.
I came back, did Anarchy, had a falling out with Bill, and was like, fuck it. So Dan Wilson started NWA Chattanooga up in Saudi. So I was doing those shows, and then Empire cranked up, so I started doing those. So I was pretty much just making those like my home base and just trying to teach some guys some stuff. And, some would listen, most of them didn't. So, and then I do it like a random show at TWE or whatever. When Chris Crunk, his old punk ass, was booking it, and he got fired as the booker. It never contacted me saying, hey, I got fired. I don't know if they're still going to use you, but they still did. So it was all good.
Oh, we're going to bring him up in a little while. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're going to bring him up. So what you kind of fast forward a little bit. You decided to retire, I guess it's a year and a half ago now?
2 years.
2 years ago now. Oh, yeah, it is 2 years ago now, yeah. Had your killer match with Matt Riddle. What made you want to retire? And obviously you're coming back a little bit now, but what made you make that initial decision to retire? Was it the opportunity of a match with Riddle? Or was it just like family stuff and life stuff and stuff like that?
Well, I'd already missed a lot of my 21-year-old daughter's life by wrestling. And I missed a lot of my soon-to-be 14-year-old's life wrestling. Now I got a 2-year-old. I really didn't want to miss it. I'd already fucked up with the first two, so I didn't want to fuck up with this one. Plus the chance to work with Riddle, because who knows what would have happened if I would have kept going. I probably wouldn't even been in the tournament. I'd probably been in like a night 2 match or something. But I thought, the build up to it and the story that it told was really good.
It was awesome.
Because it was kind of like, I think the majority of the people knew I was going to lose, but there were some people that thought, hell, he might win the whole fucking tournament.
There was that brief moment in the match where it's like, this might be a thing.
At the opening of the match, I caught him with like the 3 big moves, 1, 2, he kicks out. And then he's hitting me with everything, and I'm kicking out. So it's kind of like, what the hell is going to happen,
Yeah, it was one of the most well done matches I've ever seen by both you guys. You guys absolutely killed it.
I thoroughly enjoyed that match.
I mean, not as fun as skewers in the ass, but frankly, what is.
But coming back now doing a match here and there, I sure in the hell don't want to do it every week.
Yeah.
If I do 2 or 3 matches a year just to entertain some people and beat some people up, I'm cool with that too.
Stick some skewers in some asses.
Exactly.
So yeah, you decided to come back at Black Label. this past year. Was that just because you got the itch again?
Yeah, I was just like, I like Mikey, and when they announced the collective, I was like, I wonder if he'll use me on his show because he's been trying to get me to come back. I think there was a match where in Crown Point, it was going to be me, I think Nick Gage against the Faces of Fear, and you don't know how close I was. I had the flu at the time. Just fucking hopping in the car and going just to work with Barbarian and Ming. But
I was at that show. That would have been better. Yeah,
I thought better of it. But yeah, I mean, I was just like, damn, I could kick myself in the ass. But then when the collective thing came around, I actually got a hold of you. Was like, hey, get in his ear and see what he says. And he contacted me, and I was like, I'm down. And then when he said I was teaming with Manny Fernandez, who's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, I was like, yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it turned out to be great, too. And everybody went apeshit for you guys. Everyone apeshit for you in particular.
Yeah.
The match was fun as hell. Even though you were playing at 40%. Talk about what happened 2 days before that match, by the way.
Yeah, I had walking pneumonia.
Yeah, I was scared as hell for you.
I wasn't feeling too good, and I'd flown in that morning. I'd worked all night. At the time, I was working third shift. So I worked all night, flew to Jersey City. It's cold as hell, cold and rainy. I got the walking pneumonia, and you're driving me around and take me to eat the worst goddamn Chinese food I've ever had in my entire life.
Shut up! You enjoyed it.
Not really.
Oh, all right, fine. You were at least real polite about it.
It was all right.
You were polite about it.
I went and did the match, but I was just so tired. I was like, man, I've got to just lay down and take a nap or whatever. So you guys went to the Janela show. I slept. Y'all came back, and then me and you, we went and found the Sobro guys and Lane and Ison. And what was it, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and my flight was at like 5:30 in the morning.
Yep.
So I'm like, and we went into John Morrison.
Yep.
I thought that was funny as shit.
Who had just come off a 1 minute match.
Yeah, a 1 minute match. You don't tell him what they paid him for a 1 minute match.
Oh God, it must have been astronomical.
Yeah. And then I flew home, and then as soon as I got home, my wife was like, did you have fun? I go, yeah, it was great. She goes, I was expecting a phone call last night saying you were going to stay another night. And I was like, nah, I was ready to come home,
Yeah, it was a fun week, man. I got maybe a combined 6 hours of sleep in like 6 days, but like it was a fun week. Yeah.
It's in Tampa next year, so I've already talked to Mikey, and it's looking like I'll probably be in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, I'm renting a 12-passenger van.
Year. Cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun as hell. Gonna be fun as hell. All right, you ready for some word association?
Sure.
All right, this is the part I was looking forward to because we're gonna get you shooting on some people here. I'm gonna bring up some wrestlers' names, some current wrestlers' names, and I just want you to say whatever comes to mind. All right.
Okay.
Orange Cassidy.
Hate him.
You can expand on him if you want on this if you want.
Oh, this, you know me, man. I'm an old school guy. I grew up watching wrestling when guys beat the shit out of each other and made it look believable. And I've seen him do other stuff besides the hands in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's really good, but the hands in the pocket thing's what getting him over. It's just not my cup of tea.
All right, AJ Gray.
Love the dude.
You're working him October, was it 26th?
October 26th. Yeah, he was, when they had brought up the idea of doing this Tanks showdown, I was like, fuck, I'll wrestle. Let me work AJ. So it was kind of a handpicked opponent. I'd seen him at SCI the year before, and I just really, we chat from time to time on Messenger and just shoot the shit. And I like his work.
Marco Stunt.
Super nice kid, don't get me wrong, but he's as big as one of my turds. So, best of luck to him. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with him. I guess he'll be hanging out with the dinosaur and Jungle Boy. He's just I don't know. He's just very fragile. He's very tiny.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think this whole AEW thing in general? What do you think is going to happen with it?
It's going to bomb.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It might last, 6 months to a year, like really, really good. And then I just don't see your normal redneck wrestling fan going to be all about Orange Cassidy and Marco Stunt. That's just my opinion.
But you think they're going to be about Cody and Kenny and the Young Bucks?
Probably not. I mean, Jericho maybe, just because he's already a name. And I do like Adam Page. I don't get me wrong. I do like him. And I love fucking Jericho because I've been a Jericho fan forever. And Cody's not bad. I'm not going to shit on the Bucks because they're a lot smarter than me and they have a lot more money than I do. But I don't. I hope it does well, just to give people another option because WWE sometimes is hit or miss. I don't even watch the shit hardly. I'll record Raw and watch it in like 5 minutes. But AEW, best of luck to them. But I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. What do you think?
I want them to succeed because I actually like Joey Janela and Marco and Orange Cassidy. I actually enjoyed them. I don't like Kenny and the Bucks, but that's just my preference. But I actually want them to succeed because I want there to be as much wrestling out there as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I really want them to succeed. I genuinely do.
Hey,
I wish it was different people at the top, but I like the people at the bottom.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
What do you think of Tomohiro Ishii?
Love him.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, fucking brute.
He's a human refrigerator.
Yeah, he's just a brute. One of the best matches I've ever seen was from Wrestle Kingdom, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, with him and not Daniel Makabe, but I can't say his first name, but his
Togi
last
Makabe?
name. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like one of the best matches I've ever seen in my entire life because it was just brutal. I mean, just lariats after lariats and head drop after head drop. And the people love the shit.
What do you think of Daniel Makabe, actually?
Love him.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
When we had sat and chatted in Jersey City, I'd talked to him for a little while, and then I'd never really seen him work. So I know he was a part of like some kind of scramble shit. I didn't really get to see exactly what he could do.
Impression, yeah.
But I went back and watched the matches. I watched a match with him and Jonathan Gresham. I was like, yeah, this dude's fucking awesome. And when they announced him for SCI, I'd already got, I always give them my 2 cents worth, whether they want it or not. And I'm like, Makabe should win, or Makabe should win this fucking thing. But they were like, we'll see. And it ended up happening, so that was cool.
Oh, what do you think of the guy he beat, AC Mack?
Very talented. Can run that mouth. I already had like a 25-minute promo at Southern Honor.
Did you really?
At the Rumble Jack show. Like, good God. 25 minutes of him.
I can't do anything for 25 minutes.
No, shit, no. But he's getting better. He's turning it on. He's getting opportunities.
Jordan Grace.
Butterface.
Jesus Christ.
I hope she takes up Cornette, and if he donates $500, she'll fucking quit the business.
Now explain, because we've had many topics in the text conversations about this. Is it women's wrestling or is it her?
It's women's wrestling. I'm not a fan of women's wrestling. I know I'm an asshole, especially intergender matches. Because my thing with her is like she's supposed to be this big powerhouse, And whenever she wrestles a dude that weighs over 200 pounds, she tries to pick him up. And she struggles, and she's got to hold on to the goddamn rope, and she almost falls. I'm like, it's okay to do it to a 140-pound girl. But if you can't do it, like Dusty told Bubba, if you can't do it, don't fucking try it. You know what I'm saying? And we had kind of, a couple years ago, I was supposed to have done a match, and I canceled because I didn't want to wrestle a fucking girl. And I was on a show with her, and I explained to her why. And she didn't like my explanation. When I was in Jersey City, it was like an act of Congress for her to shake my hand. Her husband, Jonathan Gresham, was all over my ass, but she didn't want to shake my hand, but she finally did, though.
But you explained to me you have respect for some female wrestlers. Like, you told me you had respect for Mickey Knuckles, and you have respect for, like, Bull Nakano and shit like that.
Oh, yeah. Like, the All Japan girls fucking are amazing from the 80s and 90s. Bull Nakano, Aja Kong, even like Medusa. I mean, she was a legit shooter. She'd kick the shit out of you. Sherry Martel. Some of these chicks now, I just don't get into. And I'm not going to shit on people for liking that kind of stuff. It's just not like Orange Cassidy or Marco. It's just not my cup of tea.
That's fair. I just wanted you to get your opinion out there, and let people know there is some women's wrestling you like.
Yeah. I like girls beating the shit out of each other. I mean, I don't like the diva shit, where all they did was pull hair. I mean, I liked watching when I was a kid, like Joyce Grable and Leilani Kai, because they wrestled like dudes.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you think?
Like Asuka.
What do you think of like Asuka or like what do you think of like Sasha and Bayley who have like athletic matches and shit like that?
They do put on good matches. Mm-hmm. I like Asuka's matches better.
Sure,
yeah. She seems more legit. And the little girl she's teaming with now, I don't know her name.
Kairi Sane with that elbow.
I do like her. And the other girl at NXT who had that banger with Gargano's old lady.
Oh, Candice LeRae?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who's the Japanese girl at NXT?
Io Shirai.
They had a hell of a match.
Io Shirai. Yeah.
That was good shit.
Really? Okay.
I mean, if they're going to wrestle like dudes, I ain't got a problem with it. But with this, the cat fight shit, I'm not a fan of that at all. I mean, they're out there fucking throwing forearms and clubbing each other, and I can hear it. I'm like, oh, shit. And Bayley and Sasha have done that. Charlotte Flair, every match she's in, it looks like she's been in a fucking war. She's elbows are bleeding, fucking knees are bleeding.
Interesting.
I don't hate all women's wrestling.
Interesting. Okay, this is a whole new side of you I'm seeing.
I hate mainly like local women's wrestling. You know what I'm saying? All right, next subject. Next.
No. You're expanding your horizons. I like this. You're expanding your horizons. I'll give you a layup. Chris Crunk.
Fucking joke.
He did a seminar.
Yes, I know. I guess he's going to teach them for 2 hours how to not sell a move and slap his goddamn leg.
That's what I wanted to hear. He's my least favorite wrestler.
Yeah, he's a chode.
I've never you worked him. I've never even worked him.
Oh no, me working him was in a tag and he ran from me the whole fucking match. I ended up beating the shit out of Chase Jordan, which I'm gonna beat his ass October 5th.
It's gonna be. Someone described Andre the Giant having sex as a lion raping a rabbit. And that's how I expect the match with you and Chase Jordan to go.
It's going to be awesome.
Raping a rabbit.
I'm going to beat the hell out of him.
It's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be real fun. Chase Jordan, for those of you who are unfamiliar with him, which is 99.9% of the audience, weighs what, $120?
Yeah, something like that. He's the dipshit at that second sup show that did the dive and did the crash and burn.
Face full of rocks. Yeah, he's a local guy, and he's very small. And Tank is not very small. Tank is going to destroy him. Yeah, that's that Dalton show that has Colt Cabana inexplicably on it.
Yeah, and Effie, and they got some good guys like Gary J. I like that dude. Warhorse and Joey Lynch. That's gonna be a fucking banger. I just told him I want to go first and I can get the hell out of there. But much luck to everybody else.
You don't want to stick around and watch like Warhorse and Gary J. and?
Oh, I'm sure I'll stick around some.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to Action earlier that day, so I'm gonna like scramble up and like try to catch like as much of that show as I can.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be my birthday.
Cool. All right, I'll definitely
have to be there.
I'll definitely have to make it then.
I'll throw some more names at me.
See Nick.
Man, this dipshit was a fan one night, and then the next thing I know, he's like a fucking manager somewhere. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. And if you don't book him, by God, he will fucking break you over the coal.
Iceberg.
My brother. Love him. He's my boy, you know. We're like brothers from different mothers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we were a hell of a tag team for a long time. I know he's had some health issues. Hell, I've had health issues. And I'd like to at least do one match with him again, you know.
The Carnies. I saw them this week.
Iggy and Awful. I dig that. I don't know Trip Cassidy that much. You know, I'm not. I've only been on like a couple of shows with him, and he's not as like talkative as the other two guys are. And I like those guys. You know, they busted their ass and got their names out there and got a shitload of opportunities. And Kerry's lost a lot of weight.
He has lost a lot of weight. I saw him Saturday. There's like nothing left of him. And then we'll finish up with the guys you faced WrestleMania weekend, Kevin Koo and Dom Guarini.
Oh, fucking awesome. I mean, I had a good time with him. I mean, Dom was like, you know, I was like, really didn't want to piss him off because I didn't want him like ripping my goddamn arm out of the socket. And Koo, he looks like he'll slap the shit out of you. I've seen him neck chop some guys and I was like, oh, hell, I ain't taking that shit. But no, they took everything that we dished out, you know, and they were all about the skewers and the forks and all that shit. So they were cool with everything we did.
Well, let's finish up by talking about your favorite football team here. How are you a Saints fan?
Man, funny ass story. When I was a kid, I was a Cowboys fan. My mom bought me Cowboys shirts, pants, shoes, because I really dug Roger Staubach, you know, Ed Too Tall Jones. I'm talking like late 70s, early 80s. And one day I was just watching, you know, the Saints were on TV, and like a lot of their fans had bags on their heads. And I was like, what the hell is this? This is incredible. So I just started kind of liking them. You know, I didn't really follow them that much, but I dug them. And then probably the mid-'90s, I was like, yeah, these are my boys. Because, you know, they had Ricky Jackson, probably the best linebacker crew ever. I mean, even though they were like 3-13, they only gave up like 10 points a game.
Yep.
They just couldn't score. They had Pat Swilling, Ricky Jackson, and I forgot the other cat's name. I mean, like, legit, probably the best defense in the NFL. They only gave up like, they averaged like 10 points a game, but they only scored 3, you know, because the offense was terrible.
It's Bobby Hebert was terrible.
Yes. Jesus. And I thought it was dumb as hell when Mike Ditka traded every pick they had for Ricky Williams. I was like, what the hell are y'all thinking? So whenever the Saints play in Atlanta, I try to go. One of the best times I ever went was the year after Katrina they'd already beaten Atlanta in the Superdome when Steve Gleason blocked the punt.
Mm-hmm.
They played them in the Georgia Dome, and the Saints were up like 28-3 going into halftime. And there was like 9 seconds to go, and Brees threw a damn Hail Mary, and Colston caught it in the end zone to make it 35-3. And they were booing Vic, and he was flipping the crowd off. And so I've been to a few Saints. I still want to go to a Saints game down there because I think that'd be fucking incredible. I don't know what kind of season we're going to have this year. I mean, they got rid of
Ingram.
But, man, they got backups that we've never heard of they're all pretty damn good. I think Breeze makes these guys as good as they are.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's fucking awesome. I don't know how many more years he's got.
He's what, 38 now?
I think he is 40.
Oh, is he 40? Okay.
But they got a backup named Taysom Hill. He was a quarterback at
BYU.
Brigham Young.
Yeah.
And he is like probably the best athlete on the fucking team.
Yeah,
and he's got a hell of an arm on him. He's got a hell of an arm on him, but yeah, he does kick return, punt return, kickoffs. And Mike Thomas at receiver, he's incredible. Kamara's going to be great. The defense is still sketchy to me. You know, like a couple of years ago, we went and watched. You know, when they played the Patriots, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings and watched it.
Yep.
The Patriots just blew them out, but then like they didn't lose a game for like 10 weeks after that. You know, Sean Payton knows what the hell he's doing, and if they get embarrassed, that shit don't happen again. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what kind of year they got. I'm also a Balls fan, and they're going to suck. They might win the 5 gimme games. I don't know. Hell, UTC might beat them.
Y'all didn't win an SEC game last year.
Yeah, we did win one. We finally beat Auburn. No, we beat Auburn.
I don't think you beat Auburn.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. Well, you sucked. Lucky. You sucked last year. That's the point.
Oh yeah, we sucked the year before that.
Yeah.
I mean, Butch Jones is the reason why we're as bad as we are now. A lot of people blame Kiffin when he left. No, it was Butch Jones and his stupid ass. But I did get to watch some of the Miami-Florida game the other night. It was
ugly as sin.
It was entertaining.
It scared the shit out of me.
Those defenses hell.
They can sack the quarterback.
They can't sack the quarterback. I'm still not sold on Felipe Franks.
Oh, he's a roller coaster.
Yeah, he can beat the shit out of Tennessee. I mean, hell. But you went to Ring of Honor show in Atlanta. How'd that go? I
didn't. I went to Lane's birthday instead.
Oh, you ended up going? Okay.
Yeah, I went to Lane's birthday instead and watched the football game the whole time I was there.
Oh, okay. I'd messaged him about, the date and everything, and I ended up having to work that morning, so I was like, fuck, I ain't driving to Nashville.
Griffin ended up going.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's cool. So then I don't know what
PCO got 17 stitches in his head.
So what?
PCO tope-ate out of the ring onto nobody and got 17 stitches in his head.
I saw that.
Yep.
What the hell's he doing?
He's not human.
And I don't know what the crowd was like down there, but I'm hearing the Nashville crowd didn't draw shit.
Heard less than 300 at the fairgrounds.
I mean, hell, Sup draws that, don't they?
Yep.
It's just Ring of Honor. I guess what happens when Matt Taven's your fucking champion?
He basically.
Put the belt back on Lethal. I'm not saying Lethal's going to save the day, but that's just my take. I don't think Taven should be world heavyweight champion of any goddamn promotion.
It is not the smart. You should have changed horses when you started seeing the trends. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. They lost the Bucks and Cody and all those guys, but they got enough guys there that I believe that could carry the company.
They had the talent. They have Roosh. I mean, they have some real talented guys.
Bandito.
Guys,
yeah. I don't know who the hell they are, but I just when I hear people talk about them, I was like, well, he must be pretty good. And I watched a couple of matches from Bola. I was like, man, this guy's really good. Like why isn't Jeff Cobb the world heavyweight champion?
He's real good.
He's real fucking good. I love the. I mean, he's one of my favorite guys to watch because he's legit. You know, if you go out there and mess around with him, he'll just suplex you on your face.
All right. On that note, Tank, what do you want to plug?
Yes, I got that. I'm on Facebook by my real name, Warren Hollander. On Twitter at Tank_EST1996. I don't really Twitter a whole lot. I'm more of a Facebook guy and make fun of people. Got a couple shows coming up October 5th in Dalton, October 26th in Sell Creek, Tennessee, the Tank Scenic City Throwdown. Me and AJ Gray, I know they've announced Chris Dickinson and Vordell Walker.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Those dudes are going to beat the shit out of each other. And Kurt Stallion and Manders. I think that'll be good stuff.
It's gonna be real good.
So this is more of a banger show. You know, the guys are just going to beat the hell out of each other. You won't see too many flips and shit on this show, I don't think.
Be real. Something proud. You'd proudly put your name on.
Yes, exactly.
All right, my friend. Well, it's been a pleasure and an honor. I will see you soon, I'm sure. And keep on shitting on them shitbirds, my friend.
I will, man. Thanks for having me on the show, bud.
All right, dude.
Thank you.
Over on the Place to Be Nation pop feed, the Hard Traveling Fanboys review The Boys Volume 1 by Garth Ennick and Derek Roberson in this month's edition of the Longbook Hunters. On DZ4U, Russell and Todd conclude Justice League Month with the hilarious hijinks found in the network TV special from 1979, Legends of the Superheroes, The Roast. On the inaugural sports edition of Looking Forward, Looking Back, Andy is joined by the Cowboy, Roger Morissette, Scott Criscolo, and Peter Winston to look forward and preview the upcoming NFL season as well as look back and analyze the most recent seasons of NBA and NHL. The Year in Pop returns with Andy and Scott being joined by George Urbanello and J. Arsenio DeMar to discuss the news, sports, and pop culture in 1977. On New Sunday Groove, David and guest Andy Helene discuss their personal Desert Island disc. The Greatest Song of the 80s tournament continues. And before polls a day posted for round 3, you can get in the action on Facebook by searching PTBN Greatest Song of the 80s tournament and liking the page. Be sure to weigh in. On the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed, on the Place to Be podcast, JT Scott and Peter Winston take a look at the last Saturday night main event of '89. I have a football team episode of Row 1 Seat 1 with a pair of guests discussing the New England Patriots, Miami Dolphins, and Florida Gators games. On episode 3 of Extreme 3-Way Dance, JT, D'Amato, and Jenny run down the entire month of ECW Hardcore following the night the line was crossed. And on episode 7 of You Don't Know Billy Jack, Drew introduces Jordan to Saruta vs. Tenryu from 6/5/89. On PlaceToBeNation.com, PTB's tribute to 94 continues to roll on with lots of great content. Every Wednesday on PlaceToBeNation.com, we got the most interesting, unexpectedly funny stories on the World Wide Web and Glenn's Weekly Walk. Check out our social media pages and message boards at biglow34.proboards.com for information on joining GWE, PPB, and TV Match Ever Project. Get on the conversation today and start researching your list.